found out that Santamuerte was calling me. These are the things that were happening leading up to the confirmation. This was at a time where, I mean, Santamuerte wasn't even on my mind. She wasn't, you know, it's not like I had seen something or was interested in her, or there was no interest in working with this spirit at that time. What I remember is that all this I'm about to tell you happened within the first week, and I only remember of 3 things, but I know there was more. So one day I go to Home Depot because I have this desire to buy an aloe plant. As the days are going by, I start seeing spiders. My apartment where I lived at that time, there was never any spiders. I lived in that apartment for 5 years. And all of a sudden, I start seeing little spiders. They were making webs in like the corner of the apartment. And I was like, what is going... At this time, I'm not thinking it's anything spiritual, right? I don't think it's spiritual. I have no idea about Santamuerte. During this time, I was already into witchcraft and practicing magic and stuff like that, right? So all of a sudden, I have a very unlike me desire to buy a crystal ball. But you have to know that back then, I was like, oh, that's so stupid, a crystal ball. Like, it's ridiculous. And I thought it was so dumb. Like, a crystal ball is ridiculous. So, but all of a sudden, I get this desire to buy a crystal ball. So I just think about it, but I'm not trying to go out and buy one. So at that time, I was doing Uber. So I didn't really have like a work schedule. I kind of just did whatever I wanted. And I remember I was like, oh, I need to go buy some candles. I'm going to go to a Botanica in Miami. So I went to my go-to Botanica that I would go to like twice a week. And I walk in to buy candles. The first thing I see is a massive crystal ball. And I'm like, no freaking way. So I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, how much is it? She was like, $40. I buy the crystal ball and I go home. So aloe plant, spiders, crystal ball. I don't remember what the other thing was, but there was another thing. So as I'm doing Uber, I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm listening to YouTube videos. So obviously when nobody was in the car, right? So I put on I'm scrolling through YouTube and I come across Janelle's video, Signs Santamuerte is Calling You. So I was like, the thing is that I didn't follow anyone regarding Santamuerte on YouTube. I didn't follow anyone because I had no interest in the spirit. Like it wasn't a spirit that was calling my attention. So I literally just come across the video. I hadn't even followed Janelle at that time. Signs Santamuerte is Calling You. So I'm like, oh, play. You know, I'm like, okay, this is witchy stuff, whatever. Like I was just hours in the car. So I was like just playing videos. And then she starts talking. She mentions spiders. She mentions aloe plants. I think she mentions like the crystal ball. All I remember is that as I was watching the video, I was like, hold on. Check. That was literally what was going on in my head. I was like, check. Could Santamuerte be calling me? So at that point, now it's in the forefront of my mind, right? So now I go home and I start doing research. So I start looking up Santamuerte. I look Santamuerte on Facebook. I start looking up Santamuerte. And I come across Alexis Arredondo, the co-owner of City Alchemist, the store here in the spiritual store here in Austin, Texas. And my Santamuerte teacher. He's one of my Santamuerte teachers. I message Alexis. At that time, obviously, I didn't know him. I remember seeing something, I think it was on Facebook, where he said he did corn divination readings with Santamuerte. Right? At that time, I was tighter with money. And I don't even remember how much his reading were, but I messaged him through Facebook and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in having a reading. I think Santamuerte is calling me. At some point he replies back and, you know, he gives me a date, but it wasn't right away. I think I had to wait like a week or two for the reading, if I'm not mistaken. So I remember one morning I have a dream, my first dream with Santamuerte. In my dream, Santamuerte was standing in front of my face, like inches, full size, real life size, a skull in front of my face staring at me with the red robe. around us was all black. It was like blackness. And I remember I felt very at peace. We didn't say anything. I wasn't shocked. We were literally just staring at each other. So what wakes me up from Santamuerte staring at me is literally Alexis's message asking me if I'm ready for the reading. Immediately, I'm very groggy, but I'm very excited. So I tell him yes. So I did not tell him that I just had a dream. All I said was, yes, I want to know if she's calling me. I think she may be calling me. I just want to know yes or no. So he does corn divination and he tells me yes. I have some screenshots of the reading. I'm going to go ahead and enter them here. So he tells me that yes, she is calling me, and specifically, I have the closest connection to the red robe. You guys, when I heard that, I almost like fell out of the seat. And I tell him in that moment, you're not gonna believe it, but I just woke up from my first ever dream of Santamuerte in the red robe. And he's like, yeah, she's calling you. She is the one that you have the strongest connection with. That is where it all began.